Welcome to the Startup Support Surgery podcast, where we light the entrepreneurial spark in medics and healthcare professionals. Join me, Dr. Jo Watkins, GP, business coach and co-founder of The How People, on a journey to discover where your medical know-how meets the business world. This will help you find some clarity on how to balance work, passions and family so that you can gain more freedom and control over your life, but also continue to help people, which is actually why most of us went into medicine to start with. Embarking on this entrepreneurial adventure is not easy. It is a roller coaster of emotions, but it's hugely rewarding and exciting in the process. Drawing on my 20 years of blending medicine and business as a GP, I am here to share experiences, insights and lessons. Expect lively chats, expert interviews and real-life stories from medics who have taken their own path. Let's break free from traditional healthcare norms and explore more innovative ways of making a real difference to people's health and well-being, along with paving the way for a brighter future for us as healthcare professionals. Oh, don't miss my free PDF called From Stethoscope to Startup, which is an 11-page guide in the show notes full of practical help and advice. This is your roadmap to kickstarting your journey with us. Enjoy the show. I can think of no better way of wrapping up this first season of the podcast with a case study episode from one of my founding members. Dr. Sui Wong is a neurologist and a neuro-ophthalmologist based at the Moorfields Eye Hospital in London. In addition to her clinical work as a medical doctor and physician, she's an active neuroscience researcher. Sui also has lifestyle medicine qualifications and experience and always takes an integrated health approach in her clinical work. Sui is a health advocate and volunteers her time and expertise with various charities, including the Visual Snow Initiative, Food for the Brain, and she's a patron of the IIH UK patient charity. Sui is also founder of Brain Health Practice, which cultivates skills and habits for a healthier brain through her signature group program and her mentorship and the Brains program. Sui has taken time out of her NHS role for almost 2 years in the past to travel, volunteer, learn a new language from scratch, and has worked deep in the jungles of Ecuador. I am thrilled to bring her into the podcast and to find out more about her journey into business and doing things for herself. She's been an absolute pleasure to work with over the last year, and I'm delighted that she is now able to give some of that wisdom and knowledge to you. Let's get on with the show. Welcome to the show, Sui.
Thank you, Joey. I'm so excited to be here. So grateful to you already. I have to put it out there. We will talk more about it in a moment.
Oh, well, it is an absolute joy. It's so exciting. I absolutely love bringing people that I've been working with for the last year into the podcast for you to tell us all of your learnings, all of your takeaways, and really, really help other people that are out there that are looking up to you guys and wondering how on earth we start. So we're going to get as much chat as we can done. We're going to try and find out what you're doing now, how things have been, and then get your advice to somebody else who maybe is on the path behind you. Does that sound okay?
It sounds brilliant. Thank you.
Amazing. So tell me who you are and who you help. Let's start with that.
So I'm a clinician at heart. I love seeing patients. I love making a difference in their lives. I really went into the whole lifestyle medicine approach a few years ago, and that's been integrated into my day-to-day in the NHS. And then I developed kind of innovative things like group consultations for various the conditions I was seeing, which were quite rare. And yeah, so really very inspired by the whole movement. And that's where we met, British Society of Lifestyle Medicine, because it was
last year. It was 2023, I think.
I think it was the one in Manchester. And I just remember thinking I was in the conference center, already quite tired, like physically. So I thought, I'll go back to the Airbnb and just log in on the webinar from there. And I had a few to choose from. And I saw yours. I was like, what is this? Very interesting title. I logged on. I think that was the best thing for the whole BSLM that year for me. And then, of course, I was signed up. I joined your other free webinars after that. You did a series after the BSLM. Loved your energy, your content, what you were sharing. And I signed up right away. I think I was the founding, you gave some founding members
You were.
option. So yeah, I was like, yep, I'm in. I loved it. So yeah, I learned so much since then.
You went from going to your hotel room to being like, right, I'm in. I'm jumping into this crazy world. Who is this?
Oh yeah, amazing. It was like the best thing.
Oh, fantastic. So at that time, you were up in BSLM. You were putting some of your learning into practice in terms of finishing off that. Obviously, you're a neurologist. We're going to come to all of the stuff that you've done with that. So you jumped in back in September. And you were, I remember now, because actually when I started this back in 2023, this course was written in my head and on lots of scraps of paper and Google Drives, but I was looking for a bunch of people to get started with.
Yeah.
And this is something we will come to, this whole start before you're ready, get scrappy thing that I talk about a lot. And I wanted a group of people to get going with. And you were literally like a dog with a bone. You were so ready. So I couldn't get the modules out quick enough, could I? You were there ready to take it all out.
Oh, I was just absorbing it all, loving it all the learning, so many gems. I loved your videos, so bite-sized and relevant. And of course, with you being a medic, it helped me think about the angles as a medic, because sometimes I just think, oh, is it okay to say this, or is it not okay to say that? Because I guess in our training as doctors, we get told about how some things we can't say because of we are trained as doctors. They're only we can't like oversell things. Obviously, we don't oversell things, but there is that fine line where sometimes when I do marketing courses, because before we joined, I was already and actually it was all about learning online things. I was already doing a lot of lifestyle medicine for years. I was already doing a lot of NHS work for years. By that stage, I don't know, I've been a consultant for years by that stage. And the online concept appealed to me because I mentioned about doing groups in my NHS work. And I thought, oh, I really like this concept of doing groups online outside to a audience that's not within the NHS, so having a wider reach globally. Because I felt that I had things that I've been doing that's been so effective. Why am I not doing more of it? And it's also driven by this feeling of, oh, I just feel inspired to do something of impact, and this is creative, this is interesting. So yeah, so before we met, I already signed up to some courses, like marketing courses, and sometimes I go, oh, I'm not sure, it's a lot of selling, and in the NHS we're not used to that concept, right? We just turn up, do the job, we get a salary, we go home. We may have a private practice, but that's very different. That's also very traditional, where we don't talk about money. The admin talks about money. We don't sell because it's word of mouth, that sort of concept. So when I started doing these marketing courses, I was feeling, oh, I'm not sure whether it's okay to do these type of marketing approaches. So yeah, it was a breath of fresh air to do it with you, and I could feel whether it's okay to talk about certain things. You helped me break a lot of barriers, actually, because I remember when we first met, I was like, yeah, I want to do this thing, but I don't want to tell anybody. How do people find me? I just remember thinking, well, maybe it will happen by magic, but I don't need to talk about it. I had this feeling that, oh, I don't really want to go on social media. Because all the social marketing was all about, you have to post on social media every day. You have to do this, you have to do that. You have to capture these videos. And I was like, oh, it's so not me. I'm quite, I actually just want to be quiet, do my thing. So
Yeah.
but of course, with my patients, with my groups, I show up and create I'm very engaging, but otherwise I just want to be quiet, be reflective, not so much noise. So the whole social media thing made me, and of course I really needed to open accounts in the first place. The concept of having to post. So yeah, so it was really great to work with you.
Well, I think you've said an awful lot there that I think is going to absolutely land with everybody that's listening. I think this concept of clinicians and experts and medics, we really want to help patients, and we want to give our expertise, especially consultants who've been working in a specific space. I mean, the knowledge that you have on specific conditions and the opportunity for people to see you is very small. You know, those people in London, or those people that can afford to see you privately, or that can afford to travel, you've only got your one day of private work. To be able to package that up and to be able to reach, like you say, group consultations globally online is just incredible. So you want to do that and you want to show up, but what you want to do is like you say, hopefully by some sort of fairy dust magic and unicorn action, people are going to know what you're doing, because that's the problem here. They're not going to know what you're doing without you getting out there and telling people. So you identified that there was a need, which is around learning about marketing and learning about sales. And we talk about this back in, I think it's episode 4 or 5 with Neris Freighter. I'll link it in the show notes, where she had done a lot of learning, medical learning, diplomas, box ticking to say, I am ready and credible to go out there and help people with this certain condition, like you have. And if she could do it all again, she would go out there and start learning about the sales and marketing. But it's where you learn that from. What you're talking about is very kind of bro marketing tactics.
Yeah.
Sell, post, get out there, do this. And that just doesn't work it doesn't work for creatives. It doesn't work for healthcare professionals. It doesn't work for empathic people. It doesn't work for introverts. There are other ways of getting out there. And I think that's one of the things that I probably don't highlight enough is that for me, marketing and sales is something that we actually do all the time as medics in our consultations, particularly in general practice. You have 10 minutes to hear a story, assimilate the information, work out what you think you can do best to help, and then sell and give that information to somebody in such a way that they are happy to accept it and walk out the door in 10 minutes. Like, find me a business person that manages to do that 30 times a day. It just doesn't happen. So we're good at it, but when we relate it to business, we feel sick. So we're finding that balance, aren't we? And you'd done a lot of work before you came in September last year. You were ready to learn, and you'd done a lot of work. And what you're saying is that you'd learned some uncomfortable stuff. You'd also invested quite a lot of money. You'd got an app, I think. You were on a website, you got your website up and running. How much of that was stuff that you just felt like you needed to do because somebody had told you needed it?
Well, actually, I think that was because I didn't know what to do in the first place. So I would succumb, maybe not so strong word. I would kind of get some marketing, and I kind of go, oh, I think it's a good idea. And then I'll get it. And then, of course, during the sell, I'm like, oh, I'll save money and just buy it as a whole massive package, all going with all the marketing. And because actually I don't think I knew how would be a good path to do it. Because before listening to your session, I thought, oh, I have no idea how to do this. And of course, the thing that is prominent would be all the other non-medic related marketing courses. So I would just get these and I go, oh, okay, that sounds like a good thing to learn. And then I sign up, and then they're selling something. I say, oh, it sounds like a good thing to buy. So it was, I guess, without knowledge, that I spent more than I needed. And in fact, the key thing with working with you is you help me figure out that it's not about getting like an app to be able to create content within the app. It's actually starting with the very, very first question. What are you doing, and how do you niche down? And I remember when we started working together, I said, oh, Joey, I'm a neurologist who uses lifestyle medicine. Isn't that niche enough? I said, no, not niche enough. You have to choose one part of neurology. And of course, it was all that. And then with niching down, then spreading out the message. And then I had this thing where I go, ooh, back to, I want to do it, but I don't want to tell people about it because I just felt, oh, I do not know how to tell people about it. But you also helped me figure out that it's not about me it's not about being self-conscious about me. It's about thinking, what is the service that we're providing? That really transformed everything because I thought, I'm making all these effective, transformative experiences with lifestyle, and people are so grateful in my clinics, in my NHS, in my private work. And I know I can have a lot more impact if I were to just use that online platform and reach out to more people. And it's about service. So it's back to why I wanted to be a doctor in the first place. I want to make a positive difference. I want to be of service. And it resonated, and it actually helped me break the barrier to go, oh, yes, okay, then I can share with my networks about this webinar, this free webinar I'm doing on migraine. All right, then it's okay because actually I will share information that will be of service. And then the feedback would be like, wow, this is not heard a neurologist talk about this. This is really helps us as, whether it's a GP who joined the webinar or GP refers on, or word of mouth, non-medics come, they will go, wow, I didn't know these things work. And then the kind of feedback. And of course, subsequently, what you helped me do was niche down. I decided to do a mentorship. So it was around that time. So I already decided on the concept of a online mentorship. So like a course, like an education rather than private practice consultation. And it was very hard for me to get the message out there, and how to share about it. And with your help, I could actually share more about it and to be able to build on that, so that more people can sign up. So I've been able to kind of create some other little online courses, not courses, well, I guess like mentorship type things where I've kind of helped some people to get better through different aspects of migraine, or doing more of the mentorship delivery because of that ability to, okay, it's okay to talk about it. I don't need to like worry so much. It's about service.
Absolutely. And it's spot on, because that's what we forget. We get wrapped up in ourselves and how qualified we are to do something and how uncomfortable it is, forgetting that if you can get out there and deliver a webinar or a series of online sessions or a course or one-to-one mentorship to somebody that is struggling with intractable migraines, they're on 4 different types of medication, they're not able to see the right expert where they live, and you're able to support them on the end of your computer and help them through a journey to become migraine free, the impact of you not doing that is significant. So it's the impact of you doing that and the impact of you teaching other medics about your skills, the ripple effect of that, and not to mention the books that we're going to come to in a minute. But this is about different ways of sharing our expertise, and the world has changed massively. And I think we're still in this kind of NHS private model. If somebody wants to see you privately, they have to go to a private hospital where you live. Like you say, no one ever talks about money. You have this sort of uncomfortable discussion, and then they squirrel some money under the desk to a receptionist on the way out, and you don't feel dirty because it's nothing to do with you. You're just doing what you're good at. And we now have a very, very different way of helping people. And as a GP, on the other side of the fence, people want choice. And we are creating, I feel like I'm seeing this wave of experts and clinicians who are giving people choice. And if we as clinicians are able to run businesses, create personal brands that are able to give people the choice, then potentially the impact then is that we can run free sessions in our local health clubs. We can get out there and help our patients, particularly as GPs, we like to help our patients within our locality. We can bring that stuff and develop free sessions, run sessions into schools, whatever it may be. It's about helping, serving and supporting people with our knowledge. And that's what you do in spades. And it's just wonderful to see your growth along the way.
Yeah.
So tell me about your books, because you mentioned something about niching, which I must qualify is that, I remember we had a conversation, and you're totally right. It's like, I'm a neurologist that does lifestyle medicine. Like, surely that is super niche. And I'm like, well, it is, and it's great. But like I always say to people, when you're going to get out there in the world, you need to really solve one problem. There's this one solution for one problem for one person. So I said, right, of all of those people with neurological conditions, what's the one person that you see again and again and again? And that's when we drilled down to migraines, particularly those that are not responding to a couple of medications. And that was your focus for the following sort of 6 to 9 months. And last time I saw you at BSLM, you were promoting a book around that. So tell us how that process with migraine has gone specifically, and then we'll come to what you're doing now.
So the online aspects, you mean, with migraine?
And the book, I think a book came out,
yes.
didn't it, with
Yes, that's
migraine,
right.
about migraine and brain health.
I mean, so actually, I was already starting to write before we met. And it was partly, I think, it was the timing of where I thought, oh, I just wanted to do something creative to inspire myself to, create some variability to my week, which is the other thing I should add about the online thing. There is very flexible. So my day job is really full on. I've got my NHS work, I've got my research. It's really full on. And doing the online thing, it's nice because, there is no specific schedule. I can just do it in the evening or weekends, and just move it along as quickly or as slowly as I wish. And recently it's a bit slower because I've been working on some books. I've been writing before we met. And that was partly that whole direction of, I feel I should be sharing the information I know to a wider audience because it is going to be helpful. And so so it was quite coincidental, because when you asked me, what are the things, and I said, I've actually been writing. So the books I've written, there is the books to do with the lifestyle medicine side, so mindfulness, sleep, and ultra processed foods. So those are the non-migraine ones. And I've also got a book on migraine, called Break Free from Migraines Naturally. It's using a lifestyle-based approach to get better, based, I'm guided by what I've experienced in my clinical practice, and writing in a book is helpful because you kind of think about, how do I structure it? What kind of reference do I have to do? It is really a transition from writing a lot of academic papers, which I've done for 20 years or so. And it's really transitioning to writing in a slightly different way. So it was a really very nice, natural merging, I guess, kind of ins and outs, intertwining. Intertwining is probably the better word, because sometimes it overlaps more, sometimes it overlaps less. And it's really nice because there is this whole thing where I can do in my spare time that goes with my energy flows. If I'm feeling more introverted, I'll just go and write my books. If I feel like, I want to be more extroverted, I'll do more promotions on webinars and, posting about tips and things on social media. And then, if I don't feel like I want to, I just want to come back into my little world and write, then I go back to writing. So it's been quite a nice interweaving.
I love that, and I think that's really natural. I have times where I just want to create. I just want to sit here and beaver away, and then I have other times where I'm ready to go out there and talk. And I think it's probably called something. One of the business gurus will have given it a name, but this waxing and waning, creating, selling, and that is absolutely fine. You're making it work for you, and that's the priority here. Your routine, your mental health, you're a busy woman. We've all got lots of commitments going on, and you haven't always got time to stop and fill that cup. And actually that creative process of writing is probably just rebooting that energy, isn't it? Your battery's just filling, and then you'll be able to go out there and tell people about what you've been up to. But you also, you've really committed to the newsletter thing, which is again something that I'm evangelically bang on about.
Oh my goodness, that was another thing to thank you. I keep saying thank you because I'm forever grateful. You've taught me so much. The newsletter, wow. So basically, one of the things where you said was, just reach out, offer some free webinars, bring people into your world, and share useful things. Do a regular newsletter. I remember thinking, newsletter? Do I have to do a newsletter? That sounds terrible, so scary. And you were so kind because I said, oh, can you please just look at the first few? I have no idea. But of course, you were so nurturing. The first few, you just look, yeah, really good. Do this in this way, really good. And then after a few, I was like, yeah, okay, I understand the process now. So yeah, it's about committing to the regular thing of showing up. So, so I do not know whether anybody noticed, but I've been doing a regular newsletter every Thursday. So that's Thursday tips with for bite-sized brain health tips to thrive. And it's really very well received, and people really say, "Oh, it's great! It's a less than 1 minute read. I share 3 tips." And I ask one question. That's evolved actually, because when we first started doing together, I have no idea what to do, what to write about. So it would be kind of anything that pops to mind. But then over the past few months, it's evolved to a style that I start to realize that, okay, this is my style now for my newsletter. It's less than 1 minute read, 3 tips, 1 question. So that is how I do it now.
Brilliant.
So that gives me that structure. And initially I wasn't sure whether I would, because remember I said, oh, neurologist, I do a lot of lifestyle. Do I just niche on migraine? So initially my newsletter was about, the big chunk is about other generally about brain health, and then a small section about migraine. So now what I'll do is I just use that newsletter for just generally about brain health and lifestyle. And then every so often I'll put something out about migraine as a PS. I'm doing a free webinar now. Let me know, that sort of thing. And I've started to segment it slightly differently. Learn a new thing. So about how I could put people into different groups. So people who came into me through the migraine world, I kind of offer them different things, because they may want more information about migraine specific. They may not want a 3 tips and 1 question message. They just want to, what can I do now for my migraine? What is there something that you can do, sort of thing. So I have started to split them. I haven't really done anything regular in the news for the migraine people on my mailing list. I'm going to work on that. But yeah, it's just, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I've learned so much and got the confidence. It's such a joyful thing to do, actually.
It's the unknown unknowns. It's the confidence, and it's the commitment to doing it. And we all have those days where you're like, what am I going to write? But it has to just come, because this whole idea of bringing people into your world who are interested in what you're doing and helping them and serving them, and concentrating on that more than showing up on social media to a random audience who are distracted, have no time, and not that interested. And actually, so much of that is that showing up week after week after week. So when somebody does feel like they need your help, or a GP is interested in learning more about migraine or whatever, they know exactly where to go. So it's incredible that you've done that. So I think we could absolutely talk forever. I love learning from you and watching you grow. We're going to link everything that you do up in the show notes, including all of the different books, so that we've got a resource available for anybody that wants to know about you and what you do. But I'd like you just to tell me, some of the highlights about running your own business, and then maybe a couple of the struggles. Maybe one highlight, one struggle, and then some advice to somebody that maybe a year or two behind you. So what's been the highlight?
The highlight is the learning. I love learning, and learning is in the doing. So actually implementing something that has been delivered through, like if I listen to your videos and the things about, all right, this is about, I do not know, doing something relevant. It's actually taking action. So that's the best thing, the learning, which comes with the doing.
Great.
The struggle. Well, I think it's about learning to go with my energies, because I used to think, oh, I better get on with this now. And then I'm like exhausted because I've had a very full week of clinical duties or very full week of doing research to deliver, writing some things, publications, or supporting some trainees, or various research related work, and then I'll be exhausted and feel like, oh, I still have to whatever for my online projects, but I don't have to. I can leave it and go with my energies where it's okay. It's not about, am I doing this well or not? It's more about, am I enjoying this? Which goes with flowing with my energies, and I'm learning, I'm enjoying the process, I'm serving people. People come back and say they're really gaining a lot. So, yes, just going with my energies rather than feel like, oh, I really have to get this done. Sometimes it's like
Brilliant.
that, sometimes the webinar's happening on Tuesday. I've not yet sent out that email.
Yeah.
I better send out that email, although it's really tired. I'm really tired. I just have to do it. Of course there are those moments, but generally speaking,
Yeah.
we set our own internal targets. So let's just go with the flow and make it enjoyable. It's a longer term thing. Because we were just joking that before we started recording, and I said, "Oh, Joey, I'm a bit of imposter here because I've not even broken even. I'm still a few thousand down, net negative." But of course, you highlighted that this is a journey. It's a longer term process, and it's not necessarily about, are we making a profit? Because I'm not, but I'm learning, and these are the foundations that will help me create something sustainable. It's about something sustainable. So it's that's the challenge.
And it takes so much longer than people think. And we've talked a bit about money with other people. To really create a profitable, scalable business from nothing. From just an idea, from a concept that you're then creating into a thing that is not tangible, spending time with you online, working through a program, you're not buying a new product that's going to help you do something. You're buying a thing that you've created out of your brain. To take that to a profitable, scalable business is going to take time. If you can get that done in 3 to 5 years, you're going to be winning. So I have so many people that they think they're going to be up and running in 6 weeks. They think they're going to be profitable and, bringing lots of money in at the end of the year. Most people are only just starting to really bed down on what they want to do a year later. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing this. It's, like you say, it's the most incredible learning and the most incredible way to help other people. Combining those two things with something that you can do around your current work actually often is giving people the spark and the love of their job back, because they've got this creative outlet outside of their NHS work. So we're seeing this, the ripple effect of doing something like this is huge. But you don't do this for money. You definitely don't enter this world for quick profits. We are getting, as doctors, we get paid a wage, we go into work, we do our job. However hard it is, somebody pays you at the end of that day, and you come away with profit and not loss in your pocket. So I think it's nice of you to share that, and I think that's a really important share. And with the How people, we haven't paid ourselves a wage at all. We've grown a team, we've invested in resources and learning, and we haven't paid ourselves, which is not the right thing to do after 4 years. I'm not saying that that's a good model to use, because I think it can be very hard to commit a huge amount of time to something that isn't profitable. But now the business model has changed, and the impact that we'll be able to have once we operate it in a slightly different way, once my coaching business is off the ground. So everything is building a path for you for your future, isn't it? Every decision we make, every pivot, every twist, every turn, it's laying down this path for us. So I thank you for sharing that. What about your advice to somebody that's sitting there listening to this, who is curious about business, about learning, doesn't know where to start, maybe somebody off the end of BSLM or coaching? What would be your advice to your early entrepreneurial self?
I would say, think of what inspires you. So whether what inspires you could be having a unique approach to delivering certain interventions or being on certain platforms to share education or knowledge, going kind of, or if one doesn't know yet, that will likely come as like that happened with me. I didn't know. I just tried various things and I go, oh, actually, I like the longer form writing rather than do lots of posts on social media or Instagram. I tried that at least, and then I go, yeah, actually, that doesn't quite suit my personality. I would rather do longer form. And some people, and there are really amazing medics out there who do short form Instagram videos, and I really enjoy them. So I think, oh, this is great content. So I appreciate that different people are inspired by different things. So the first thing to say, what inspires you? And also it could be, and I love what you just said about sometimes doing something creative like this can spark back our joy of our day to day. And it's definitely been the case, I feel more of, okay, my day to day job, very hefty, but there is a slightly different feeling about it than going, oh, I'm so exhausted. It's more like, oh, okay, yeah. It's a slightly different. The creativity outlet gives a boost to my day job. So that's one. The other thing to say is think of everything like an experiment. So it was one of your friends who came to our group, Claire. She said something about think of it like an experiment. And that really resonated with me because, of course, I do research. I'm always thinking about, how do we think about things? How do we create experiments or research trials? And I loved how she said that, try this. It's an experiment. If it doesn't work, that is information. And then, so things are really an experiment. And then the third thing is to say the learning is in the doing. We have to just take action, even if it's a small action. Like I shared about just going with my energies. But let's say I don't have much energy, but I just go, all right, okay. I just kind of, at least I can spend some time thinking about, all right, okay, I'll do this in 2 weeks' time and I'll kind of work on this bit, that sort of thing. Or I'll listen to this recording. And sometimes I just love listening, catching up to a recording of a live thing that you would do because, I oftentimes can't attend live, but just listening to it is, tapping into I'm doing something, learning, and then figuring out how do I take action on it. So those are, I guess, the three things. Sorry, you asked for one thing. I shared three things.
I love that. No. 3 things is amazing. So we've got do what inspires you and, engage in that creativity to bring the spark back in your day job. Treat this as one big experiment. I love that, especially from somebody so science backed. We don't experiment in our day-to-day life as clinicians for very good reason, but it is one big experiment. You're absolutely right. And the learning is in the doing. 3 amazing points. It's been a complete pleasure to have you back and to talk to you today. We will obviously be watching everything that you do. We're going to link everything up in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining us, Sui. It's been a complete pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much, Joey. I'm so grateful to you. Love you so much. Thank you.
So thank you for joining me for this first series of the Startup Support Surgery podcast. This was a bit of an experiment in itself, and I'm not promising that it's not going to change and evolve and possibly have a little rebrand and a refresh at some stage. But what I've been able to do is get going and get doing. And with the help of the amazing Pete from Monkey Pants Production, who was introduced to me by the amazing Tom Dillon, this is how LinkedIn works, I've been able to bring to you 12 really valuable podcasts for anybody that is thinking about starting a business or a personal brand who is a medic or a healthcare professional. With a mix of case studies and expert sessions, I'm hoping you will be able to dive in and enjoy previous episodes while I take a short break before coming back with season 2 just before Christmas. So enjoy the podcasts. Please reach out and let me know if you have any questions. You can always email me at joe@bendylegs.com. My website is linked in the show notes. You can download my free download, and coming soon, I am going to have a very exciting 3-part course for you as well. So watch this space, and I will see you in the next season of the podcast.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.